Good afternoon and happy Chinese New Year. As you can see, I'm wearing something a little bit different today. Not a suit and jacket. It's a holiday for a lot of people, but for a lot of private sector, it's still another working day. And for a lot of schools, they just don't close because they have been closing for so many days. And a lot of kids still have to go to school today. Usually, Thailand don't um, have Chinese New Year as a national holiday, but the government hope that making it a holiday this year will help boost some spending, even though they just announced it only a week or two in advance, not that too much far in advance. But still make a lot of people happy to not having to go to work on Friday. And if you grew up in Thailand, a lot of schools actually pretty, I would say, half empty on the Chinese New Year holiday anyway. So there you go. Finally, a public holiday this year. Just it's a bit unusual, right, for a lot of people since last year until now. Today, late afternoon, Mr. Kittipat Sukjit will take you on a tour to Chinatown or Yawarat Road. Usually, it is very lively during the Chinese New Year. There will be a lot of celebration, people coming out to buy things, to just gathering around and socializing with others. Because of COVID-19 this year, there is no celebration, no official celebration at the Chinatown in Bangkok. But Kittipat will show you around, see how things going. So today we're going to talk about official number, the latest record number by CCSA. And we are going to talk about Chulalongkorn that ordered the campus to be closed for until the end of the month. So it's another 2 weeks away, something like that. And Pathum Thani ordered their two markets to close for 3 days. And we're going to talk about government savings bonds. If you may have heard about it in the news. Rao Chana government saving bonds, what it is, what is the thing about it, and there's a lot of people have been buying it so far. Um, Yesterday, the news reported it's about 9,500 people bought them so far at average of 520,000 baht worth of government saving bonds. So there will be another lot coming out the second half of this month. We'll talk a little more about that, what it is. And then I'm just going to show you the natural carbonated water fountain in Kanchanaburi. It's literally soda fountain. Oh, they call it soda fountain in Thai, so why not call it in English, right? So just going to show you how it looked like in a little detail about it. Let's go to the first news. The first news today is the COVID-19 update. Let me show you the number. The number we have is here. Today we record new 175 cases of COVID-19, and there's no additional fatalities, so bringing the total to 24,279 cases, including almost 4,000 people still receiving treatment in the either hospital or field hospitals. And that's the latest update for today. You can see the number is actually look better in the last several days. Like in Samut Sakhon, the latest toll they just recorded not even 100 people. I think it's 95. So it looks like situation is getting stabilized. Cannot really totally say it's getting better, but it's getting stabilized, like Dr. Pismay said several days ago too. And we're going to go to Chulalongkorn University. Chulalongkorn University just ordered that they are going to close their campus until the end of the month. The Chulalongkorn University has now closed its campus until February 28th and is urging all its staff and students not to leave their lodging or meet other people during the lockdown period in a bid to contain the spread of COVID-19. On Wednesday, The university reported that 16 employees, most of whom resided in dormitories on campus, tested positive for coronavirus and are undergoing treatment. So online classes will be provided during the lockdown, and lecturers have been asked to adjust their assessment methodology, such as by using online or take-home examination instead of in-person exam sessions. To ensure as much essential faculty work continues as is possible, some staff may be required to work in the office, university said. So at least 16 people found to be infected at the dormitories just on campus right now. That's why they're trying to contain it and limit the movement of people that live on campus. We'll probably hear more whether after the active screening would there be any more infected cases. Let's move on to Pathum Thani province. Pathum Thani province now order the closure of 2 markets. Just gonna show you some screens so you don't see only my face. Okay, it's actually photo from Pathum Thani market in January when they have mass proactive screening there to make sure that all migrant workers in several markets in Pathum Thani got tested. And Pathum Thani right now, yes, as of yesterday, late afternoon, they just ordered 2 markets in Thanjavuri district to close for 5 days. So it starts today until 12, 13, 14, 15, until the 16th, 5 days closure, because they found that a lot of COVID-19 infections in the province found to be linked to these 2 markets. Even though actually in the past 2 days, there's no new COVID-19 cases in Pathum Thani, but I guess they are being precautious. So in addition to the markets, Suchat Market and Pornpat Markets, adjacent buildings in Prachatipat sub-district have also been closed, and Pathum Thani's governor has imposed a 14-day quarantine and restrictions on the movements of migrant workers, so they cannot go out of their living area, living quarters, just to make sure everybody in the surrounded area being quarantined. This reminds me of something the CCSA spokesperson, Dr. Tawisin, and also the deputy spokesperson, Dr. Pisamai, was talking about. Put the bubble around the hotspot. So make sure it is contained within the area that they found a lot of cases. So both markets will be disinfected and must propose and have approved by the provincial administration disease control plans before reopening. The Pathum Thani currently have 5 patients receiving treatments in hospitals and 3 others under observation. You can see that the number is not that high, but they are being very cautious about it, and they are trying to make sure that everything is contained. The total number of that case now, accumulative number, is 88 cases, but no new cases in the past several days. That is a good news for Pathum Thani. Now, let's move on to government saving bonds. Government saving bond is the bond that issued by Public Debt Management Office, or PDMO. I'm gonna show you something that posted by the PDMO website. That is, they try to encourage you to buy more government saving bonds, and they have this lion thing, which is Chinese New Year symbol. Public Debt Management Office Chief Patricia Mongkonwanit encouraged people to purchase newly issued government saving bonds worth 8 billion baht. The 8 billion bond issuance is a part of 55 billion baht in savings bonds being offered under the Rauchana or We-Win scheme to fund COVID-19 recovery efforts. Retail investors can buy the bonds at branches of Bangkok Bank, Kasikorn Bank, Krung Thai Bank, and Siam Commercial Bank nationwide until February 15. So you have until Monday. So what are the rates of the return? The 5-year bond has an average coupon rate of 2% to 1.5% in the first 2 years. and 2% in the third and fourth year, and 3% in the fifth year. The 10-year bond averages is 2.5%, which is 1.5% in the first year, 2% in the second year and third years, and 2.5% in the years 4 to year 6, and 3% is the year 7 to year 10. Interest is paid twice a year on February 5th and August 5th. And whether the coupon rate's high, interest on the bonds is relatively high compared to coupons of ordinary bonds offered in the institutional investors. The Thai government currently offers institutional investors 0.6% interest on 5 years bonds. However, the finance ministry has boosted the 5-year rate for retail investors to 2%, said Ariya Tirannaprakit, the Senior Executive Vice President of Thai Bond Market Association. So what are the risks of these government saving bonds? They are almost risk-free, almost. It means there's still some risk. Since records show that Thailand is among the few countries that have never defaulted on their debts, that is a good news. One risk is that purchasers may not want to hold the bonds until they mature, in which case returns may be affected. Investors can sell unmatured bonds over the counter at banks, but the prices will depend on market conditions at the time. Investors who hold bonds until they mature are guaranteed a full refund on their investment. So, any risk from the inflation? If the market expects inflation to rise, this is what the expert said, interest rates will rise. This erodes the real value of bonds. Since their interest rate is fixed, however, the market does not expect Thailand to face higher inflation over the next few years, while medium-term headline inflation remains very low and has mostly fallen into negative territory recently. The lingering COVID-19 fallout means that Thailand's economy is unlikely to accelerate, so the chance of interest rates rising is low, said the expert. So talking about diversifying investment against the market risk, investing in government saving bond is one way of diversifying a portfolio that may already contain stocks, gold, and bank deposits, the expert said. And while corporate bonds or debentures may offer higher coupon rates, they also come with higher risk, since no one can guarantee that firms will not default on their debt obligations. And what about the tax on bond returns? Investors pay 15% withholding tax on coupon payments and on price gains when they sell bonds before maturity. Investors who pay a lower tax rate on their annual income can add their bond investment returns to their annual income to reduce their tax burden. Taking the full tax obligation into account, the effective coupon rate is 1.725% for a 5-year bond, according to the PDMO, the Public Debt Management Office. The effective coupon rate is still higher than bank deposit rates. Meanwhile, the government bonds can be used as collateral to boost finances or avoid time in jail. Banks and financial institutions accept saving bonds as collateral for loans, while Thai courts accept them as collateral for bail. Final thought from the expert. The expert said that each investor will have different needs or risk tolerances when it comes to investing in a variety of asset classes, bonds, debentures, stocks, gold, and property. So saving bonds are good for long-term investors who want stable returns. There you go. The final thought is it's good for long-term investors that wants a stable return. Now, let's get out of the COVID-19 news. And we're gonna go to Facebook. If you haven't heard it already, Facebook is launching something. It's in the trial base. Facebook is launching something that they say they're gonna try to make people see less of the political news. It will roll out news feeds with less political subject matter in line with the plan outlined by Mark Zuckerberg, the CEO of Facebook, to reduce inflammatory content. Facebook said that it would begin testing the change for a small percentage of people in Canada, Brazil, Indonesia this week, and the United States in the coming weeks. The product management director, Ashta Gupta, said that during these initial tests, Facebook will explore a variety of ways to rank political content in people's feed using different signals and then decide on the approach that Facebook will use going forward. He also said that the change will not affect information about COVID-19 pandemic and content from global health organizations or from official government agencies. He added that one common piece of feedback that Facebook hears is that people do not want political content to take over their news feed. The move comes with Facebook and other platforms under fire for enabling the political misinformation and manipulation, notably during the election periods. Mark Zuckerberg said last month that Facebook is seeking to turn down the temperature on its platform by reducing the kind of divisive and inflammatory political talk it has long hosted. He said that Facebook will no longer recommend politics themed groups to users and was working on ways to reduce the amount of political content served up in user news feeds by its automated system. However, he said last month that Facebook is still going to enable people to engage in political groups and discussions if they want to. So you won't see it flood your news feed automatically. But if you want to, if you choose to, you still can engage in the political discussion. But that's not happening in Thailand yet. It's still in trial phase in several countries with a small group of population. And I don't know when it's going to happen in Thailand. One thing we know for sure that it is AI. So AI can make mistakes too. It's just going to use some kind of mass data to calculate how to detect the political news or political agenda on the feed. So we'll see how it goes because Facebook always announce anyway when they're going to do this. So you'll see change on your news feed when it happens. Now, let's go to the next news. I think a lot of you might want to see this. Nothing to do with COVID, but it's something I would say interesting. There you go. You might think, oh, it looked normal. What is interesting about it? It is the natural carbonated water fountain discovered in Kanchanaburi province. It is the first one of its kind to be discovered in Thailand, and the officials said that this fizzy water tastes slightly sweet. I don't know why they try to drink it. It is a carbonated and drinkable water source that they found it in Kanchanaburi province. The Department of Groundwater Resources discovered this carbonated water during the search for underground water resources for farmers in the province. And the Department Director General said that the water becomes carbonated through the layers of mineral-rich limestone. They were planning to dig about almost like 10 wells for the groundwater, but then on the third well at the 303 meters deep, they struck this carbonated water, and now it's become something that looks like the fountain that you see. The officials intend to drill another 6 wells after this and will declare the area a groundwater reserve to prevent private sector drilling, which can cause contamination. Sagda said that he expects each body of groundwater will provide more than 500 million cubic meters, which will supply to people in 11 villages and 480 hectares of farmland in Hue Krachao district, which is often hit by the severe periods of drought area. So the water fountain you see now, let's play it again. It can go as high as 1.8 meters, and the water can come out as much as 50 cubic meters per hour. So that is a lot of salt water, and it tastes a little sweet. Anyway, and that is the interesting news I have for you for today. Hopefully you guys will enjoy your weekend, and if I have a chance tomorrow, we'll come back to see you again. If not, there are always news update on various of our channel. Let me show you. We have our website, of course, the thaipbsworld.com. We have our Facebook that will go live when there is something interesting going on, or for our news update show, which Kun Kitipat Chun Sukjit will be with you later on today afternoon, take you around the Chinatown. We have YouTube channel, just search for Thai PBS World, and also Twitter and Instagram. So you can follow us at any channel you feel like, and to get more update about news in Thailand, not just the COVID-19 news, political news, explainers, something about Skytrain, government saving bonds, or around Thailand, or some kind of tourism spot, interesting little places around the country, or even about food or innovation. So see you maybe tomorrow. If not, we'll definitely see you on Monday at the live feed. Other than that, you can follow news on every channel we have. สวัสดีค่ะ